Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to Engineering Conclave 2025. My name is Sai Hasani, and I'm truly honored to serve as a board member of ACMW Stanley. It's a privilege for me to be moderating this powerful panel today. As we all know, women have been at the forefront of breaking stereotypes, building innovations, and shaping futures in technology. Yet, the journey hasn't been without its barriers. Today's session, Women in Tech, Breaking Barriers and Building Futures, is about celebrating those stories of resilience, leadership, and impact. It's about hearing from women who are not only leading in their fields, but also paving the way for the next generation. And to bring this to life, we are joined by six phenomenal leaders, researchers, innovators, designers, technologists, and change makers from across the world. Each of them brings a unique story and perspective. And together, they will help us explore how women are building the future of technology. To go deep into the panel, I would love to introduce the distinguished panelists. To begin with, our first panelist, Dr. Priya Pattanaik, Associate Professor at the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. She specializes in artificial intelligence, computer vision, and medical imaging with a strong focus on healthcare applications. Alongside her research, she is deeply committed to mentorship and inclusive academic spaces, encouraging more women to pursue STEM careers. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Uh, it is a great opportunity for me, and I'm very grateful and also humble to get this opportunity to basically talk in this brilliant panel. And also, I'm very much thankful to Dr. Kishore to give me this opportunity, to be honest. So, basically, it is not only a discussion; it is just also to empower women to break various odds, we can say, and make a easy road for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Next, we have Miss Vidushi Bhardwaj, an empaneled designer with the Ministry of Textiles, Government of India, specializing in human-computer interaction, user experience, and visual communication. She has studied at NIFT Delhi and IIT Hyderabad and has worked with Raymond, recognized as a top UX research voice on LinkedIn. She blends aesthetics and functionality to make design more inclusive. Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction. Looking
Yes,
forward
ma'am.
to having a very insightful discussion with all of you. And I hope that this discussion will bring out some really valid points that will help us empower the next generation of women. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking your time and joining this panel. And now our third panelist is Dr. Oluwasefunmi Arogundade, Professor of Computer Science and Pioneer Dean of the College of Computing at the Federal University of Agriculture, Nigeria. She has worked extensively in software engineering, ICT for development, and smart agro technologies. As a leader in ACMW initiatives, she actively mentors women in computing across Africa. Our next panelist is Ms. Thoko Miya, CEO of Girlhype Coders Technology Institute in South Africa. She has been instrumental in empowering girls and young women with coding, digital literacy, and technology skills. Beyond her work in education, she also engages in internet governance and AI policy, shaping inclusive digital future. Our sixth panelist is Ms. Vindhya Avvari, Cloud Integration Manager at the University of Southern California, Los Angeles. She specializes in cloud architecture and enterprise system integrations and has also spoken at industry events such as SOCAL Regional User Group. Her leadership showcases how women can excel in large-scale enterprise technology. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here and to share this space with other beautiful, wonderful women here. And I do look forward to having this beautiful discussion and hope to see actionable actions taken by our wonderful students. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us in today. And finally, we have Miss Natasha Lalwani, Senior Data Scientist at Fractal Analytics. She works on applied machine learning and AI solutions across industries like healthcare and retail, and is also an active community leader with Vindhya. She is passionate about applying and scaling data science into real-world business impact. Good evening, ma'am. Sorry to break you, Miss Natasha, but could you please unmute yourself if you connect to your mic, ma'am? Sorry, ma'am, but we can't hear you. Um, okay, ma'am. Okay. Before we get deeper questions, let's begin with something light to set the tone. I would like to ask each of you a quick icebreaker question, and I'll request you to keep your responses within minutes so that we can hear from everyone. And the question is, if you had to describe your journey in tech in one word or in one phrase, what would it be and why? Anyone can answer the question.
To keep it fun, I would say roller coaster.
Oh, that's great. Anyone want to add?
I think I would say that my journey has been a bit unconventional. That's the word that comes to my mind. I did not pick up the traditional path of doing engineering or medicine that most of the people take. And I had to build my own career moving forward, doing design, which was something very new at the moment. So, yes, I would say that my journey has been unconventional. Thank you.
Okay. So, anyone want to add?
Yeah, for me, I feel if I describe my journey in one word, then it can be unstoppable because I was basically born in India, my education was there, then I moved to Europe, and I have to face various significant challenges, basically, and I can say that to overcome the feeling of an outsider is also a very big challenge, and to keep everything aside and be unstoppable till now. I think, yeah, this one word will be the best one.
Okay. Natasha ma'am, actually you're not connected to your mic. Could you please connect to your mic so that we can hear your voice? Okay, so that was with the icebreaker activity. Now moving on to the panel discussion. Dr. Priya ma'am, my first question to you is, what are some barriers women researchers face in advancing from PhD to faculty, and how can institutions address them?
Yeah, well, if we, I think this question is very much interesting. And for this, I can say that there are two ways to see this or face this question. Because if we go with personally, then I can say there are many barriers women face. And when they complete PhD and think for a faculty position or any opportunity, maybe we can say, the first expectations is basically the cultural expectation, the pressure which is given to a woman to prioritize their marriage and also the motherhood before their professional life. If you see, like, and if you compare with a men life, it's they are more prioritized to their jobs rather to giving that prioritization to the marriage and motherhood, to be honest. And along with that, if you go with the studies and the survey in Europe or maybe in Asia, we see that the women who are a part of engineering science, they're quitting PhD because they don't have the or they lack the mentor support, as the because when for giving my example, simple example, when I was doing my postdoctoral, I was the only female or only woman in the lab with around 10 men. And I was feeling an outsider because I want to prove myself every time that I can also do something, even though I am a part of the tech world. So I feel there are many challenges, maybe in the mindset of the people, maybe in the hiring process, maybe in the promotions, or maybe in the leadership opportunities, we can say. And nowadays, we are in the era of 2025, people are changing, and also the institutes are also supporting, like for example, the institute like Academic Net, we can say, or the institute like Vedu Global. They are basically providing the mentorship and giving the opportunities to the women by increasing their visibility through their work, or conference panels, or leadership roles, or they're inviting them to talks to show their collaborations and show their work, and making them feel like a rising star in technology also, we can say. So I think that there are pros and cons in both the sides, but still we are working, and the academics are also responding to that in a positive way.
Yes, ma'am. So, any of the panelists would love to add on to the Dr. Priya's point? Would love to share your perspectives? Okay. Vidushi Bharadwaj, Miss Vidushi Bharadwaj, my question to you is, as a woman in design and tech, what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them?
That's an interesting question, Hasini. So I think the one of the major challenges that I've faced as a woman in tech is that I feel like I'm taken a bit less seriously in the meetings where I'm the only woman. So at times my ideas are overruled or overlooked unless and until they are repeated by somebody more credible in the room. So, but instead of letting that discourage me, I tried to work on my confidence. I tried to present my ideas in a manner which is backed by strong research as well as data. And over time, with persistence and also with improving my communication skills, the end result was that I deserved the credibility that I had earned. I also sought out to a few industry mentors, both men and women, working in various fields, and I tried to understand from them how to navigate this bias in the professional spaces. So, in the end, I would only say that there's just one moral to the story, that your voice may be tested in a lot of rooms, but it's also the strongest tool that you've got. So, never let it go unnoticed. So, that's from my end.
Thank you for sharing that valuable perspective. And any of the panelists would love to add?
I just have to agree with everything Ms. Vidushi had said. Yeah, that's a great insight.
Yes. So, Vindhya ma'am, what skills helped you transition from technical roles into a leadership role in enterprise tech?
Yeah, that's a good question. And for me personally, it has been a complete switch from my technical role into a leadership role. And when I had started my career in software engineering as a software developer, I have never to transition into a leadership role. That's my very honest answer. But when I have seen the opportunity, and I have also noticed that I had some natural skills that have pushed me to cross those barriers, I did say yes when the opportunity is posed, although it had been relatively difficult for me to transition as a woman in tech, and I didn't have many people to even look up to or get some mentorship or an advice to how to transition it. So most of the lessons or the skills that I have discovered along the way had been through the hard journey, and it was for good thing, right? Because when you learn it by yourself, there is an impact and effective way that you learn and adopt certain skills. And for me personally, I think the major shift happened when I had the different mindset. Because when you are a developer, when you are in a technical role, you are mostly speaking with either a software tool, your computer, or a particular tool, and you're talking through programming languages. But when you are in a leadership role, your communication style completely changes, and now you are more involved with other leaders, other peers, other teammates, and your role and responsibilities drastically also change. You are not just working for yourself or making an algorithm work, rather you are now trying to make a product, or you are trying to make the whole team work, develop something. And it is just beyond your technical or analytical skills. You transition into more of soft skills and people skills, and that includes not just the mindset shift, but it also includes being compassionate to other people, being effective communicators, so your ideas are not good, but you are also able to articulate them in a way that it is perceived by other people and accepted. Maybe not always, but sometimes, right? And then you also would encounter challenges like conflict resolution. There are times wherein you have to stand up and be bold and voice out your ideas. So communication, being an empathetic leader, because this is the other skill that I found extremely interesting, is that you need to be able to listen. You need to be able to listen when you're in a leadership role. And often, if you are just developing, sitting in front of your computer, you tend to not strengthen that too much because you're working in silos or you're just working with your teammates. So definitely, I would say to summarize it, communication, absolutely a must to be successful in a leadership role, and listening skills are extremely important. And the other thing to set you ready for success would be your strategic thinking, because you're not only thinking for yourself or just your team, but you are covering multiple areas and multiple teams across the board. And sometimes it could be at a company level or multi-global company level too. So these are some of the skills that really helped me. And it's always a constant learning. It's never like a milestone that you reach and you are done and dust off your hands. It's always the passion to be open for that continuous learning will set you in the successful path, whether it is a switch from technical to leadership or any transition in your career.
That was a very meaningful experience that you've shared, and I really like how you connected it to real life examples. Would you like to share any example with our listeners where something similar or different?
I especially love the point where Vindhya ma'am said about empathetic listening. I think empathy is one of the most important skills when we talk about any role, especially in leadership roles. If you're not an empathetic listener, nothing good will ever come out of it. You need empathy to understand your team members. You also need empathy to listen actively, and that is only where innovation happens. So, thank you for pointing that out, ma'am. I hope that more and more leaders in today's companies take empathetic listening seriously and work upon it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for adding on. And Miss Natasha, what are some challenges women face in building careers in data science and AI?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, we
finally,
can.
we're back on track. Okay, amazing. I think um, in general, what I've noticed is women are very underconfident. So I've seen and I've met a lot of phenomenal women who are extremely talented and very good at what they do, and but they don't really showcase their talent. And I think that is something we need to promote more. They need to be confident in what they do and just go out there and speak about it. And that's why one of the major things that I do is try and give a platform to such women so that they can go out there and they can, speak about their work. And because the resources provided are the same for everyone, there is no discrepancy in resources provided. It's just that what I've noticed is you have more men, going out there and being overconfident, even though some of them might not even know things. And I have personally experienced that in my workplace. Whereas, women who know things, they just keep quiet. And, as Vidushi pointed out in her previous answers or introduction, that to be heard, it's just that you have to really reinforce and reiterate multiple times, and still you're not hurt, to just get your position on the table, even though you have better experience or credibility. But it's just very difficult to be this. I think we just need to be a little more confident and make place, sort of like force it, so that we make sure that we are heard.
That's a very relatable challenge. Thank you for shedding light on it. I would like to open this up. Does anyone else on the panel want to add to that?
Yeah, I also want to add a few points. It is says very correct that confidence also plays a very vital role. Along with that, I also feel that maybe women, maybe young women who are thinking to start their career in tech or who are already working in tech, I feel that every woman should feel fearless and embrace the change, because as a woman, personally, they go on changing, right? Like the lifestyle, or maybe we can say um, the stage of a woman from a daughter going to be someone's wife, maybe becoming a mother. So it has a change. So they should adapt the change personally and also professionally to become fearless to it. They shouldn't think that it is never too late or it is never too early to learn something new. They should adapt it. They should not be satisfied where they are. I feel so. So they should train themselves and create that curiosity among themselves to grow. So I feel that from there the confidence comes within, that they don't need to validate themselves all the time, comparing themselves or thinking that, okay, I cannot do anything, I am stuck here in my life. So I feel that the curiousness, or they should stay curious, stay more motivated, and also open to learning something every time. If you love to learn something and to enhance this quality, then it will lead to success, I feel so. So I can add this point to this only. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priya. Anyone else want to add? Okay, that's all right. So, Dr. Priya, in your AI and medical imaging work, how do you ensure fairness and avoid gender or data bias?
If we go to the field of, like for example, I'm expertise on the responsible AI in healthcare. So if you look for the data bias when we are collecting data sets for the patients, so if, as we can see, the ratio of women are as very much less as compared to the men as the population. So it becomes very difficult to collect the amount of data sets. Along with that, we can say that we don't have fixed rules. Maybe in Europe, it is based on the GDPR rule, or if you're using any AI technology like the ethics, we don't have a gender balance, I can say. So when we are collecting the data, we don't getting that amount of equality of gender bias, where we can study that how the data sets related to women behave. So similarly, but nowadays, with the growth of AI, we can say that there are various adaptability which has been also done with various AI ethics boards, where they're giving opportunities to the women researchers to be a part of the board, and also to enhance the ethical knowledge of the ethics of AI by adapting the healthcare delivery, we can say, especially basically in the underdeserved communities. So these are the strategies which can help to have a balance between the gender while collecting the data set in healthcare, we can say. And along with that, I can say that giving the opportunity to women as um, Vidushi ma'am said that to power to speak out, right? Giving the opportunity to speak in a room in front of everybody and to accept the opinion also plays a very vital role. So if you see if the role of women in shaping the AI in healthcare, as per the survey, it has been noted that in as of 2025, the women have approximately given around 32% of the global workforce in AI. So in 2024, it was like 30%. So we are not going in a very high range as compared to the community of male. So I feel so that there should be more women inside it in this field, so that there can be more opportunities where the women can have the opportunity to work on this field of medical science and also AI associated with medical science. So I can say there are various programs, and I really facilitated the program. Like for example, one of the program of Indo-German, that is for women, that is Wiser. It is a women involvement in science and engineering research, which basically facilitates the women by giving them sponsorship, funding, so that they can work together and combine India and Germany together and go for a project approval. So I feel these programs will basically help the women to facilitate and to avoid the gender and the data bias in AI. And along with that, I feel that uh, to enforce some policies, inclusive policies in the workforce, and also to basically facilitate the funding, basically for the women, to so that they can go for applying projects. They can ask for gender equality plans in a diversity policies. So I feel so. Yeah.
That's a very well-rounded approach, and that is really helpful for everyone who are working with data. That's even an inspiring approach to responsible AI. And I would love to hear from others on the panel. How do you address fairness in your work?
So, as Dr. Priya was alluding to those different opportunities and also having those diversity audits or transparency in how inclusive or diverse how they are trying to reduce the gender bias in those certain fields. I have seen something similar in the corporate world as well. There is certain policy wherein they have tried to balance the number of people who are of different genders to have like equal opportunities, and also balance the percentage of um, at least like the head count of the people, men versus women, being part of a team across an organization. So that was something interesting, and I do foresee more corporate offices or more companies adopt that idea. And with that said, it definitely would encourage other women to also feel mostly equal, if not completely. So I believe, yeah, that's a good strategy going forward.
Thank you, ma'am, for adding on it. Now, Ms. Vidushi, how do you integrate the voices of artisans and users into government projects with cultural roots?
Thank you, Hasini. So, as you must have all experienced, that working with government agencies is not easy at all. It's very multi-layered, and there are also certain things that you need to keep in mind. But handicrafts have been something that have been very close to my heart. I feel that, we are a very big country with every state having a craft clusters and diverse handicrafts. And it is also something that we need to preserve for the future generations. So while I work with artisan communities, I actually spend a significant amount of time in the field. So this helps me understanding their lifestyle, listening to them, observing their daily activities, and in the end, co-creating with them. So instead of treating them as just beneficiaries, I try to see them as stakeholders and partners whose knowledge is invaluable. So when it comes to these government projects, I make sure that we have participatory workshops as well as storytelling sessions where we can combine all of these things in the design process. And in the end, this ensures that the policies or the products that we are creating, they are both culturally authentic as well as practically usable. So I would just say that, we try to incorporate user-centric design methods, and we also try to create products that are rooted in real experiences, and that also voice the motivation of why the artisan has created that product. So that's the answer from my end. I would also love to hear other panelists' views on Indian handicrafts and what they think of it and how important it is to preserve them.
Yes, exactly. You've highlighted an important way of keeping cultural authenticity alive. And please, other panelists. Okay, moving on. Ms. Vindhya, how can women in tech build confidence to take on high responsibility integration projects?
Yes, thanks for asking that question. Um, So basically, I believe that many of us, not just women, we often find ourselves at least one point in life where we find ourselves being low confident, no matter your history, no matter how much experience you might have. It often happens. I think it is just to do with the human psychology sometimes. But I can give few pointers that actually helps me. I'm just hoping that that might also help other people out there. So some of the ones that I think have worked out for me and I have seen for my other mentees that I also advise is that uh, first we need to understand like what is confidence. And I do also think that most of the people think or see that as you either have it or you don't, but that's not a fact, because it is, how I see it is that it is sort of like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more stronger that it becomes. You are not born with it. It's not something that you need to feel sad that every time you feel low confident. So that is the good news. You can always build your confidence. And there are certain practices that you can do, which is probably like practicing and planning. Imagine yourself speaking in front of a mirror if you were to give a presentation versus speaking in front of 1,000 people. You would rather feel more confident talking in front of the computer or in front of your mirror rather than going out there and talking. But when you pre-plan what you want to say, and if you have prepared enough, it sort of gives you an idea how you want to present it, and that sort of like boosts some confidence level without you even realizing it until you face that. So that's one tactic that you can imbibe and try to come with preparation, a solid preparation and thorough practice. With that, your confidence definitely increases. And the second thing I also want to say is that having a support system, and support system does not always mean maybe like your parents or your sister or your cousin. It could also be from professionals in the same career path or with the similar background achieving something. What it does to us is that it gives a boosting that if someone could do this with the similar background and with similar life story, you could do that too. And that is like an indirect confidence boost that instills with the power of proving yourself and believing in yourself. If someone can do this with similar weaknesses, with similar stories, with similar background, then you also indirectly feel that you could do that too. And mentorship, the third one is mentorship. Mentorship, what that does is that even though you're not confident in yourself, when you see someone trusting in your abilities, and sometimes you are blind to your own capacities and you are blind to your own skills and talents, and when someone points that out, that hey, I observe this skill in you, you have it, and when you believe in their opinion, it also gives you that boost of confidence because you chose to believe in their opinions rather than in your own self. And that at times it helps to see someone put trust and see that you have certain abilities which you have not seen in yourself already. So that also gives you the power to do whatever that you are trying to do, even though you're feeling low confident. And the final one would be something similar to what Dr. Priya was saying earlier, is to overcome your fear, because fear is the biggest barrier or a challenge, if you will, to becoming confident. And some psychologists also say that the opposite of confidence is fear. And how do you overcome fear? It is extremely counterintuitive. You have to become more confident to become less fearful. And how and you, if you're confident, you're not that scared to do things, right? So what how I say this is that usually they say this saying that the growth starts outside of your comfort zone. So you need to find certain ways, either it could be planning, preparation, having a support system, or your mentor speak up for yourself, or boosting that confidence. You need to just cross that barrier. So you're coming out of your comfort zone, and then boom, you are a different person, and you have already done that. And with those multiple smaller wins, you are paving your path to success. And when you look back, you have this proven track record of everything that you have been fearful of, but then you finally crossed it, right? So taking those smaller actions one step at a time, and once you have built a track record, you will become into much more confident person along the way. So these are few things, few practical things, and it is much more easier to say than doing it. But I'm pretty sure that these steps or these tactics would help boost confidence. And once you have the track record, you can take on much more complex projects and challenging projects with much more confidence.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing those amazing words. And I really love the strategy which you've shared to build the confidence. And any of the other panelists would love to add on this? Okay. Miss Natasha, what role has community involvement, like women in data, played in your career journey?
Oh, that's amazing. So, when I started out, I was looking for mentorship because I did not know anyone working as a data scientist. And then when I started working, I was the first female employee to be hired in my company. So it was a startup, and then just walking with like 30, 40 men was very overwhelming. And I had heard of this organization, Women in Data, and I was a part of it. So I reached out to women, within the community just to get some guidance. I needed someone to answer my questions. And y'all won't believe it, women are so supportive of each other. Normally, if say I would have probably reached out to them on LinkedIn, very likely I wouldn't have gotten a reply from them. But they are so strong within the community that I had almost every person that I had reached out to reply to my message, and I got on call with them. And it's been, I think, more than a year now. And if at any point I get overwhelmed, I have someone to guide me, I have someone to help me out. And I also like the initiative. It's more on how we can get women in data, how we can upskill them, how can we provide them with more resources, and we also give them a platform to voice their expertise, to voice their opinions. So we host a lot of events, and there are various chapters. Actually, there are several chapters in India as well. So especially like over here in the US, we have we host several events, and we try and make sure that is always an all women panel, so that because we need more women to be heard. So I think joining such organizations has really helped me, because the amount of motivation I've gotten, and as Vindhya mentioned, when someone has that trust in you and believe in you that you don't have in yourself, it really does help you and it motivates you to work on yourself. So I think it has really helped me a lot in my corporate journey and also self development. And I think everyone should, at least give it a try, because it's amazing how we support one another.
That's truly commendable. Being the very first women to step into that role shows such strength and courage. In a space that has traditionally been male dominated, your journey sets a benchmark for others to aspire to. Thank you for sharing with us, Miss Natasha. Would anyone love to add on?
I just wanted to say what Miss Natasha mentioned about women supporting women, and yeah, that is actually true. And with even with my own experience, that's what I have noticed, and it is so empowering. It is so empowering to see women helping out other women, and I truly encourage everybody to definitely utilize that, and come out of your comfort zone, reach out to people and get some guidance. It is truly helpful. Thanks for sharing your insights, Natasha.
Thank you, Ms. Vindhya, for adding on. Now, Dr. Priya, looking ahead, what role do you see women playing in shaping responsible AI for healthcare?
Yeah, basically, if we see the part of the healthcare, we can see that not only healthcare brings a broad domain, and with this domain, it also belongs to the various part of engineering, maybe sustainability or maybe AI. So we can see the role of women shaping the AI in healthcare. We can say the adoption of the position of the female experts in leadership roles, the giving the opportunities, and along with that we can say that like working as a data scientist or like a data analyst, we can say, with the part of the AI in healthcare. Along with that, like a project manager or maybe a project assistant associated with the projects with healthcare. Along with that, we can also say that the main part we can sponsor or we can see the role of shaping AI in healthcare is the research part in academics. So if we focus on the academical part, then we can say the role of women in academics plays a vital role, because here the women are shaping the career, not only the mentorship, also they are also having their groups, or we can say their circles of women working together in a lab with research. So I feel that giving advice to each other, supporting each other, and along with that, to help the reduce the isolation, we can say. Basically, in a research lab, as an academician, in a research lab, if we keep aside teaching the students in academics and going with the part of the research, it plays like a community, where if there are more women, it creates a similar stage to understand their struggles, to understand, give each other advice or cheer each other up, we can say. So along with that, we can also say that like successful women in research, basically they stay in academic, and also they can be a part of various workshops, panels, work as a guest talks or the women leadership. And there are various fellowships which are also supporting women to have this position of mentorships, and also to promote mentorships also, we can say. And also there are various courses which are also supporting the women with having a safe space events in academia, and also to have a peer support for having the visibility in these groups, basically. So in this way, the role of women plays a very vital role in basically in the healthcare, we can say. having the cross generation and also having a cross regional mentorship with providing sponsorships to the women in a senior roles also. Yeah.
Hello, Hasini. I think we can't hear you if you're trying to say something.
Hey Hasini, do you want to maybe try rejoining?
Um,
While we wait, maybe we could just utilize this time. Does anyone have any additional ideas or insights that they want to expand upon, maybe on the topics that we have already talked about? Maybe I'll just go. Miss Vidushi, the field of work that you are in, that is extremely interesting. And I definitely would be supportive of preserving the culture, because we are transforming at a rapid rate, not just India, but all the different countries. And I definitely see huge value in preserving our history, whether it is just the culture and not just the textiles, but the culture itself, right? And the future generations might not even know what it looked like and how everything was done from scratch. We are so motorized and mechanical. No one even knows how things are done. And it is such a wonderful and beautiful field to be in, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Vindhya ma'am. It's an honor to get that kind of validation or praise from you. And yes, I'll be very honest, it's extremely difficult to work with the artisans. And more than that, it's so important to preserve our culture and our heritage and the handicrafts, because more and more people these days are choosing to migrate to different cities and they are leaving the craft behind. So I feel that it's our collective duty that we give handicrafts the due that they deserve. And at the same time, we also educate people. Like you just mentioned, that people don't even know what are the processes behind a particular product that they see, whether it's made by hand or it's made by machine. And both the processes are extremely different. So I think this starts right from awareness, um, telling the next generation how handicrafts are important and why handicrafts are handicrafts in the first place, why they are higher priced. So these things are extremely important to communicate. And at the same time, if we fail to do this today, I have a list of handicrafts that have already gone extinct. And there are a few handicrafts in which only 8 members of a particular family are creating that. For example, Rogan, there's a family of 8 members and only they practice that handicraft. So once the family is gone, and if they do not pass it on to somebody else, the handicraft will be extinct forever. So I think now is the time that we take this seriously, and we try to preserve the age old traditions and the age old handicrafts that have been taken forward by these generation of artisans, and we also give them their due. Thank you so much for highlighting that, Vindhya ma'am. I feel very honored, especially to be speaking about this on a platform like this, because I can reach out to a larger audience and I can advocate for it. Thank you.
That's a very great point. Like, I feel what you said is so important. Like, I have seen over here, there are various, how you said, like, okay, there's a family that has only 8 members and no one has passed it on. And more, there should be more advocacy for it, and that knowledge should be shared, or at least it should be highlighted. And that actually does happen in the US. Like, I remember I'd taken a trip, and over there they had like an entire presentation on how there's this specific kind of art and craft that has been passed down from generations, and the amount of work it takes, and I remember everyone in that store were just buying things to support that community, and if that, and I myself bought something, it can be, for example, like a very simple pot, and one might say, oh, you get pots everywhere, but the design on that pot and the amount of effort, put into that, how they sit and they do it themselves. So if that is done here, I feel like we have way more cultural heritage in India that should definitely be, passed on and advocated for, or marketed in a certain way.
Thank you so much, all the panelists, for covering up, and the perspectives which you've shared were really great. I hope I'm audible right now. Yes, so to wrap up the session quickly, we now have this rapid fire round wherein each panelist gets to speak about the question for a word or in a line. That means being brief with your answers. So my first question is one word that defines women in technology today. Anyone can answer this.
I think resilient. I want to say we are far more resilient than men, and we should not undermine that at all. So take that to our advantage and just continue growing. I think we can do much better. That's coming from a little slightly biased opinion, but yes.
I totally agree with Miss Natasha's point. Does anyone else want to add?
I
I
think
was
unstoppable, adding to what Natasha said, women are clearly unstoppable these days. I think we've become a force that is so difficult to stop, come what may. So obviously, women in tech are epitome of how women empowerment should be.
Yes, exactly. Anyone else? Miss Vindhya? You want to add any point, Miss Vindhya? Okay, all right. Moving on. A barrier you think women have almost broken in tech.
I think for sure the only woman in the room syndrome. I think more and more women are coming, and luckily, we don't find ourselves being the only women in the room these days. So, and I also hope that, it's no longer a barrier after a few years. Women are not labeled as a category. We do not need that anymore. So, yes, I think that's one barrier that women are breaking, and they will continue to break in the years to come.
Yes. Anyone else?
I feel so. The word will be silence because women have stopped being silent. They have started speaking out in everywhere, and they have called out the biasness, and they are asking for a mic. To be honest, to speak up, maybe in a room or maybe in the world also. They want to speak up. What is true? That is true. They are not. They are no more fearful or afraid about the society, or maybe if they're working in a company, they're not afraid feeling that I am an outsider. So they are nowadays unstoppable, and also they are breaking the silence. They're speaking out. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, Dr. Priya. Now, my next question is one emerging tech field where women can lead the future.
I think responsible and ethical AI. I feel I personally I've heard a lot of women speak on that, and I think that's one field that we can do really great in, because I think the point of empathy was brought up earlier. So I think we that quotient for us is higher, which is honestly very important. So I think that is one field where we can do really well.
Yes. Anyone else want to add?
I completely agree with Natasha. I also feel that, user experience research is something that women can really take up because it requires a very high level of empathy, active listening, and, understanding the user's needs, something that, women are already doing, but in different roles, like, like a mother, like a daughter. So I feel that all of these skills come together, and women are just great at empathy. So I think that, being a user experience researcher would be a very emerging opportunity for women.
I also want to add one other thing. Again, this is my perspective. Also, the sustainability technology, I feel that women would be empowering that field because they are extremely detail oriented. They have they make conscious decisions. So I think it's very important for women to be in that, and I foresee that people changing our world and becoming or forcing people towards the sustainable future.
Thank you so much for adding your perspectives. Now, what is the single biggest challenge women face entering tech careers?
I think we covered this was brought up earlier, like voice being heard. You know, just like, hey, this is my idea, but I think I'm just repeating Vidushi, and we all must have experienced this at some point. Like when we say something, it's not completely being paid attention to, but if a man in the room repeats the same idea, it's like, oh yeah, 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 that's a good idea, we should implement that. Like, hey, I just said that 5 minutes back. So I think that's something we still face.
Yes, very true. And I think there's also one more thing that we face as women in tech. Sometimes, there are these biases around us that are termed as being culturally fit or not. So I think that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also with that, I have already told this, but I want to repeat it again, is that like belongingness, feeling that I'm only one in the room, to be honest, and doubting yourself. I feel this is also a biggest challenge for a woman, because if I give an example, when I was working as a researcher in the lab as a scientist. So, as I already told, I was the only woman in that room, and but to be honest, whatever I was doing, the work I was doing, I want to prove myself, because the people around me, made me feel somewhere that I am a woman with the gender, So to prove myself, and but to be honest, I also appreciate few men who are supporting women. To be honest, because one of my supervisors, the head of the project, he basically supported me, and even though he was a man, but he told me that Priya, you don't know what is your ability, what you can do. You can do much better if you have the confidence in you, and don't doubt yourself, don't feel isolated in this lab. So there, from there also, there are some men who also support, not only women, I feel. So there are also some men who make you, boost you, or bring out that doubtness from you yourself. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Priya. Now, what's the most underestimated skill women need in tech careers?
I think negotiation skills, we don't, um, that's something that's also like it's correlated with advocating for yourself. So I think that's something we already know it. We just need to, I think, just put it out there and get better at it.
Yes, and I think also assertive communication. That's
Mm,
again very important.
sure. Yeah, I agree.
Finally, in one line, your vision for women in tech in the next decade.
I think what
Maybe
I said, oh yeah, Natasha, please go ahead.
maybe not just like an exception at the table, but us being equal contributors and sort of architects of the future.
Exactly. I would second that, not being labeled as a category. And also, I see a future where we don't have to have special sessions on breaking barriers as women, we are so is so equal and so gender neutral that, we don't have to have these discussions in the first place. So that is my view for the next few years.
Anyone else want to add? Okay, all right. With that, we come to the conclusion of this insightful panel discussion. On behalf of ACMW Stanley, I sincerely thank all our distinguished panelists for sharing their valuable perspectives, experiences, and inspiration with us today. Your words have truly highlighted what it means to break barriers and build stronger futures in technology. I would also like to thank our audience for your attention and engagement throughout the session. We deeply appreciate your presence and participation. Thank you once again, and we look forward to more such meaningful conversations in the future.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, all the panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you. It was a very great, insightful session. It was lovely meeting such extraordinary women in this panel. And I also hope to keep in touch with you. Apart from the discussion that we've had, we could probably take these discussions on a different Zoom call sometime. So it was great. Thank you so much. And looking forward to more of such discussions in the future. Bye
Likewise.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all for taking the time and joining in this session.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Bye
you. Have a
bye.
nice weekend.
Bye. You
Thank
too. Bye bye.
you.
Bye.